I think helping women, and we're at such an important place in society with women's health and hormone health.
I really think of nutrition broadly as nourishment. It's how you move your body. It's the relationships you have. It's your mindset.
And you were like, do you want to test for it first to see? But I'm like, nah, let's just go in. Let's just go in and do it. And then you explained to me what I had to do. And I was like, okay, I'm in, let's go. Home. That is to the Conscious Home Podcast. I'm your host, Blanche Garcia. Today I'm joined by somebody very special to me, and not just professionally, but personally. She's played a huge role in my own health journey since 2020, and I'm so excited to finally have her on the show. Marissa Fay is a board-certified holistic nutritionist, a functional nutritional therapy practitioner, and holds a master's in public health. That's a lot, so kudos to you. She is the founder of Marissa Fay Wellness, where she's helped over 700 clients around the world rebalance their hormones, restore energy, and heal from chronic stress through a functional medicine approach, including myself, which is why I'm having her on. And Marissa specializes in women's hormone health, stress resilience, and gut repair using personalized nutrition and advanced lab testing to uncover the why behind our symptoms. She's also the creator of the Balanced Hormone Blueprint course and the host of the Healthy Hormone Lab podcast. And if you want to experience her magic for yourself, listeners of the Conscious Home Podcast can schedule a free discovery call at bit.ly/ready for health using code CONSCIOUS. Marissa, thank you so much for joining us.
You're so welcome. Thanks for that fabulous intro.
You're welcome. And I just want to say to everybody out here, so a little behind the scenes or behind the story, the reason I'm having Marissa on here is that I've been working with her probably for the past 5 years. And it has been quite a journey for me that I have completely benefited from. And I am constantly, I don't know if her ears are always ringing, because I'm constantly talking about her, because I get asked all these questions about what I do and what I take and blah, 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 blah. Because I have gone through, it hasn't always been pretty. I have gone through my moments. And so this is more for me. Instead of just like saying it all the time, I can just have one place that everybody can go to. So I will, at the end of this, tell everybody what I am taking and what support. I don't gatekeep. So I'm an open book when it comes to that. I think helping women, and we're at such an important place in society with women's health and hormone health. And it's really like gut health, and it's the root of so many things. So let's begin, because we have a lot to cover. For anyone who hasn't met you, how would you describe what you do in your own words?
It's such a good question, and it's sometimes so difficult to encapsulate. But I would say what I do is I guide women, especially as my kind of area of focus, although I have clients that identify as all other kinds of things.
You work with my husband.
But I really guide. Yes, right. And I've actually supported clients with their children too. So one of the beautiful things about connecting with a client like you, Blanche, is you're like, oh, there's all these other people who need help, and I'm here to help them too, right? But, with my special interest in women's health in particular, I have women who come to me who have kind of the constellation of symptoms that if you go to your doctor with those symptoms, they'll be like, it's
Literally.
life, right? Oh, it's just having a period. Oh, it's just being a woman. Oh, it's perimenopause. That's just going to happen as you get older. And I really, if I can
go for it.
Fucking hate that. I fucking hate that. It's like, way to be gaslit by somebody who really what they mean to say is, I don't know, because I'm actually not trained in understanding how
they get
all
like
of
an
these
hour or
things
two
fit
of training,
together.
by the way, on these things.
Literally.
And the reason I end up referring so many people to you is I can't tell you how many women I know of various ages that'll tell me that they're really messed up. They're like, my hair's falling out. I'm bloated all the time. I've gained so much weight. And then I get tests done that my doctor schedules for me. And I go in and they go, yeah, everything seems normal. And they're like, I don't feel normal, which is, by the way, how I started with you. But that is so normal out there.
Yeah, so normal. And just because it's normal doesn't mean it's right. That's really where I fit into the puzzle. And so those women come to me, and what I do is I take you through a holistic process. And what I mean by that is, and I know you appreciate this, Blanche, which is why we connect so well, it's so much more than what we're going to focus on is, yes, what you eat. We're going to focus on when you eat, how you eat, the composition of your meals, but it's so much more than that. I really think of nutrition broadly as nourishment. It's how you move your body. It's the relationships you have. It's your mindset. Yes, it's the supplements you take, but it's those being customized and personalized, right? Based on the lab work. And when I look at the lab work, I'm looking to see what's optimal, not what's a disease state. state, which is what your
Right.
doctor is looking for. I'm looking for, what can I see in the labs that tell me what's not working so well? That if we got it working a little bit better, you would
Well,
feel better, right? How
and
does it
what's
all
insane is that
connect?
I always tell people I am always a very holistic person. But somebody mentioned to me the other day, they said, for somebody who's so holistic and whatnot, you're also like pretty realistic in the sense that if my arm is falling off, I'm going to the emergency room and I'm taking medicine and I'm getting surgery and I'm doing all those things. But
Yes.
the everyday functionality and the support of our body is so multifaceted in the sense that it's just not just one fix. And I feel like the part that I completely understood when we started working together is that, there's so much out there, so much information, and there's so many supplements that when you hear about somebody going, oh, try whatever, ginkgo biloba, you're like, yeah, let me try that. So you have no idea. You're just shooting in the dark. You don't know what's going on with your body, but you heard this one person say that this is great. And so you just start taking it. No idea how it interacts with other things in your body or what's going on. And I was like, that doesn't make sense to me. And so it's like, you have to, it's like mind, body, soul, like conscious home for me. When I think about it, it's not just the home, it's holistically the whole space. It's the body we are in, what we show ourselves every day in visuals, scent, nutrition, the words we say, the mantras, the things we feel. So all of it's connected. That's why for me, body to energy is like such like a important component.
Yes, a huge component. And I will tell you, when I have a client, not always, but in many cases, if I have a client who really hits a wall and I can't help them break through, a lot of times it's none of the literal things we're doing, right? It's not that we didn't get kind of the diet right. It's not that we didn't work on the right exercise or movement habits. It's not that we're not doing the right supplements. It's the energetic component. It's the mind component. I mean, not always, but a vast majority of the time. And so a big asterisk here is I love that you're not gatekeeping and you're like, let me be an open book and tell everybody what I'm doing. And I want listeners to recognize that doesn't mean what Blanche is doing is right for you. Blanche has been through so many iterations of protocols, of recommendations, of shifts that we've done together. And this is where she is. But
5
it's
years
a journey.
later, by the way, guys, 5 years later, it didn't start out that way at all. And that brings me to where you start. I'd like to know where you start with somebody. I know where we started, but where, from your point of view, do you start with people that come to you?
So this is oftentimes frustrating because a lot of people are going to hear this. And I encourage you, dear listener, don't hear this and think, oh, I've already got that dialed in, because I can bet you you don't. I have worked with and talked with so many people. I will tell you 99% of people don't have this because we're so busy following standard health advice and then every little trend that comes across our phone on social media. But where we have to start really and truly is, how are you nourishing your body, right? Like, what are you eating? And not just what are you eating and what proportions are you eating things, right? I know protein has been getting a hot moment here, right? Where it's like really blown up, but what kinds of proteins? Is it the right amount of protein for your body? Is the right timing of the protein? These are all really important things to consider. And then how are you digesting that? And I really start on digestion with every client with the simple things that are actually going to help your body digest better on its own. We don't necessarily need right out the gate to throw supplements at your body.
With me. You were like, I want you to stop what you're doing actually and give it a minute.
Right, exactly. So sometimes we need that reset. So we focus a lot on how we are fueling our bodies. And is that fuel the right match for your body? We focus a lot on how you're moving your body. We focus a lot on your exposure to toxins. And especially with women, this is so important because women are exposed to like 6,000 plus different, the number is crazy. Like, I'm not even going to quote it because I'm sure I'll quote it wrong, but we are exposed to thousands of chemicals truly every day compared to typically our male counterparts, just based on all the products we use, how much we are more likely to be the ones cleaning, how much we are more likely, right, to be the ones like taking care of things where we're using chemicals. So we look at how do we reduce that toxin exposure in a major way. And not to overly plug some of my things, but this is why I created the Balanced Hormone Blueprint, which is my course, because I wanted to give women something that mimics what we might do in one-on-one work and can be a really fantastic and solid starting point that's accessible to a lot of women at different price points and a really great starting place if you're a self-starter. But it's why I made the course, because it touches on all of the things that I truly do start with. We have to look at your stress. And I don't mean that in a bullshit way. I mean that in like yes, stressful things happen in life, but what can we control? Like, I'm very Viktor Frankl about it. We can control a response, right? So as women, we often have to work on what's that innate response that we initially have when a stressor happens. That we can control, right? So that's kind of a baseline of where I start with everyone, because otherwise we're building a house on really unstable foundation. And so we need need to pour, and you probably know more about this in your field, but we need to pour a good solid foundation before we start building the walls on it. And the walls are fancy testing, supplements, more advanced strategies,
well, and
all
I can
that
kind
stuff.
of jump in a little bit about my own story here, because in the beginning, the reason I had come to you, and oddly enough, a side note, anybody who's on TikTok, so I had just had my daughter and I was a mess, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to work out and eat better and go on runs. And that worked. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I had lost some of the baby weight and we were in the middle of the pandemic. It was 2020, but I was like, okay, I'm starting to get like kind of my sparkle back. And then something shifted and I was like, wait, hold on a second. I'm like, something's off. I'm losing my hair. I'm gaining weight again. I feel my skin is dull. I'm sleeping horribly, all these different things. And I was like, wait, but I lost the baby weight. What is happening right now? And so at the time, this was about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I'm 47 now. And at the time I was probably like about 42. And I realized I'm like, I think I'm going through perimenopause. I think I'm like hormones are now hitting me. I'm like, oh my God. And I went to the doctor and I got my testing and they're like, you're fine. Everything's within range. You're fine. And I was like, I don't feel fine. They spent like 5 minutes with me and nothing was working. So I go into meditation. I'm like, there's got to be something out there. I'm not sure what, I don't even know who to talk to. And of course I come across you on TikTok. And, I think social media is kind of a double-sided sword in the sense that it's how you use it. So I have found amazing people. I think that you're one of them. And I just listened to you and I was like, oh, I get her. I was like, I feel like I'm simpatico. So I literally scheduled a call and I remember just us talking and you going, I need your blood work. And I was like, I got blood work. And you're like, this is basic blood work. These are not the nuance that really like let me know the information of you as a woman and what's going on in your body. And so that kind of floored me because I literally thought I was going in with the information. And so even after the first phone call, I remember in that call, you said to me, what I want you to do, like you looked over my diet and you're like, you're pretty much almost vegetarian. I'm like, yeah. I'm again, gold star. And you're like, you eat a lot of nuts. And I'm like, yeah, gold star again. I'm like winning, right? And then you're like, okay, so we need you to have more protein and probably animal protein. And I was like, ah! And you're like, until we get you out of code red. Oh, and second of all, you got to stop nuts because your body can't process them. And I was like super bloated all the time, by the way, when I had that call. So we go through our whole thing. I get off the call with you. I stop eating nuts for 24 hours and my bloating goes away. And I was like, wait, what? It's like, what? I was like, okay, just on that sold. I'm like, just on that sold because literally fixed it in 2 seconds. And really quick before we go to the next question, just because this is so pertinent to what you said, I was at a family function a couple of weeks ago and we were talking about like how to eat and what to eat first. And somebody said, oh yeah, you have to eat something like lettuce first or salad first. And I said, well, sometimes I said, but protein first actually is like really important for a lot of women. And they're like, yeah, but I heard that it's really this first or that first. I said, yes, but women who are going through hormone changes, who are of certain age, like myself, protein is going to be first. And they're like, oh, I had no idea about that. I just eat whatever I want. And I was like, okay, I get it. And it was just to your point. Yeah. I feel like I've become like an extension of the information. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. And I'll say on that note too, because this is a good point of like people you come across on social media, like Glucose Goddess, amazing. She shares a lot of really great information. She also shares stuff I don't agree with, for the record. But one of the things she's really gotten out there is food ordering, right, for blood sugar balance. And her whole thing is non-starchy carbs first, which I think is where a lot of people are getting this salad first. But actually, salad and raw veggies can be really tough on digestion. So if you don't have robust digestion, which you most likely don't if you have signs of a hormone issue going on, right? Fatigue, hair loss, moodiness, cold hands and feet, right? All of these kind of things that we think of kind of as hormonal if you're still getting your cycle. If you have any of those, it's unlikely you have robust digestion to do like a salad before every meal. And then also to your point, Blanche, and why we worked on this with you is it was actually most important that you get protein in, right? Because you would fill up fast. And that's something I hear a lot, right? When women aren't used to eating more protein or eating enough calories, really, not just enough volume food, but calories. We actually have to start with what's the priority of what your body needs right now. And for a lot of women, it is protein. Your body needs the protein first.
So this kind of taps on another question. What are some of the patterns that you see over and over again that are pretty predominant right now?
So as far as like issues people are coming in with or things that we're doing that maybe are not so great for us?
I guess patterns that you see coming up that you're just like, oh, why is this again coming up?
Or, yes.
How is this again happening?
Totally. Yeah. So I would say bloating is like such a common issue that women come to me with. And a lot of times the bloating is coupled with some kind of experience of stress or sleep disruption. So people will say, oh, I'm tired, but I can't sleep well, right? I'm exhausted, but I feel like I can't relax. I'm bloated, but I feel like I'm eating right. And these things often travel together. And to me, it's really an issue and a symptom, a lot of our eating habits, but also as women, the burden we really take on for everyone else and not protecting our energy and our space. So a lot of those women come to me, they're doing intermittent fasting, right? Yeah. And I don't mean this bullshit intermittent fasting that, like, not to call her out, but come on, Dr. Mindy Pelz talks about intermittent fasting. Y'all, what she really means is a healthy not eating window that's normal, right? What she actually talks about in most cases is like you eat dinner at like 6 or 7 and then you don't eat again until the morning,
that's
like 7
normal,
or 8. That's
by
not
the way,
intermittent
that's just
fasting.
Normal. You're supposed to stop at a certain point.
Yes, right. You're just supposed to not eat when you're asleep, right? So that one is like suspect to me, but I mean true intermittent fasting where women are like delaying breakfast hours, especially. That I see coming in a lot, and we need to resolve that. And sometimes when women go to resolve that, we have more digestive issues come up at first. So that's really scary because then it's like, oh no, actually I should be doing that. No, you started slowing down your digestion, right? And so when you did that, your body had a response. So that's a common thing. A lot of thyroid issues, a lot of autoimmune issues, a lot of women self-diagnosing with things like perimenopause or ADHD when actually we're dealing with severe nutrient deficiencies. Because truly, like, you can wind up with that diagnosis, PCOS as well. You can wind up with any of those diagnoses and actually it's a nutrient deficiency. It's a digestive issue. It's a microbiome imbalance. And so that's why too, when I work with a woman and I look at hormones, I rarely look at the more expensive, elaborate hormone tests out the gate. So if anybody listening has heard of like a Dutch test or like a full cycle saliva test, right, where you're taking a bunch of samples throughout a cycle if you're still in your cycling years, those are really fantastic. But estrogen, progesterone, even testosterone to some extent, these hormones that we're going to measure at that point, they're downstream. They're downstream from, well, are you getting the right proportion of B vitamins? Are you absorbing the minerals from your food? Are you reducing your toxin exposure, like even from your tap water, right? Like, are you doing all of these things to really improve what's upstream? And so really what I tend to see is a lot of women are actually dealing with upstream issues, even when we think, like you, Blanche, we're gold star doing it right. Oftentimes it's not a match for what the feminine body needs because it's so different than what a masculine body tends to need.
Interesting because I have these conversations and more with women about when we talk about the energy too of autoimmune and all these different things. There's a lot of studies coming out right now that a lot of that is coming out in women, and that autoimmune is predominantly for women, or PCOS women, all these different things. And from an energetic standpoint, the way I always explain my feeling on it, and I know I'm not the only one that believes in this ethos, it's like my share of it or my thoughts on it, is that our body harbors so many different options. There are a lot of things that could go wrong if they're kind of tipped in out of balance, okay? And so when women especially internalize either not using their throat chakra, meaning that their voice isn't heard, anger, pain, maybe trauma from when they were younger, and they don't voice that. A lot of people pleasers, a lot of people who are who stuff down their emotions. When we put that into our body and we don't express that in a way that allows us to kind of release the pressure on those gauges, we internalize and our body goes into fight or flight. And it basically says, I need to protect myself. And when it protects itself by overproducing things and by saying, okay, like we got to go. And so that I feel like tips things into out of balance. And that's how come I think a lot of women, because women are just historically the ones that have had to shut the fuck up and had to do everything and clean the house and take care of the kids, or when they're children, just be pretty or be a good girl or do this or do that, you know? And so I feel like that is really a big tipping point for a lot of women. Obviously, I have always used my throat chakra, which I think has helped me, but there were moments that in my history that I had not. And when that didn't happen, I noticed that there were things like, you start to not be able to sleep. You start eating horribly because you're upset, you're depressed, a lot of things, you're overthinking. So I'm constantly on vigilance and it affects your hormones and whatnot. And so I guess my next question is that when we started working together, just to get personal, what was that experience experience like for you and from where I started, because we've been working together for a very long time now, to where I am now?
You know, what was beautiful about working with you, Blanche, is I can tell when I get someone in the room when they're open to more. And I love that, right? I love when we can talk about that energetic component, right? When we can talk about really honestly the impact of truly not just health history, but like emotional history, right? And how that's impacted you and brought you to where you are. Because I really see and believe it's both, right? It's both. And by the way, I identify with much of what you said. I have a thyroid condition, and I do believe part of how it developed was my childhood growing up with an abusive parent, right? And stifling and holding and pressing. And also, I had some severe nutrient deficiencies, and I had some things that made it a lot worse, like being a vegetarian for 7 years and the dysfunction that caused in my gut. So it's both to me. So I love when I can level that way with a client. So that was great with you. What was interesting with you is you were really attracted initially to Parasite.
Yeah, no. So
I don't know if you
so
remember
for everybody
this.
who's listening, first like intro, I scheduled the call with you, and I think I was like the day before, and I'm sitting there and I go, I feel like she's going to talk about a parasite protocol. And then something pinged inside me. I'm very intuitive. Obviously, we've talked about that, everybody who follows the podcast. And I said to myself, I have to do a parasite cleanse. And I had never, like, honestly didn't know much about it. And I was just like, it just kept sitting with me, like, I have to do a parasite cleanse. And then we were talking, and I wasn't even bringing it up. And you were like, oh, here's some of the things that I offer and do. And here's some of the things. And you said something like, yeah, and sometimes we do parasite cleanses and that. And I was like, that one right there. I was like, I think I have to do that. And you were like, do you want to test for it first to see? Or do you just want to like go in and do it? I'm like, nah, let's just go in. Let's just go in and do it. And then you explained to me what I had to do. And I was like, okay, I'm in, let's go.
Yes. Yes. And also, I want people to know I saw signs in your blood work that parasites could be a problem. So this is really important because I know there's so much stuff out there like, oh, everybody parasites. And yes, well, I do think most of us hold on to some type of parasite. Not all of them are problematic. It's the same idea. We all have fungus in our body. We all have organisms in our body. It's actually about the balance. It's not always something we have to go after or that it's wise to go after at a given time. And so for you, right, we started first, we eased your body into it. We didn't just kabam, right? Like parasite cleanse.
You did a prep. No, let me put this out there. She gave me like a 3-month prep protocol that it was like, my husband was just like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, I'm prepping my body. He's like, don't you just drink something? I'm like, no, not unless you want to like completely your body like foots out or like lose it.
Yes, totally. So it backfires like that, right? But what I loved about working with you is you trusted the process, right? We discussed these different kind of layers of why we were doing what. You were willing to try things, which I think is so important when we're so inundated with this health information. And you came in thinking like, I'm already doing all these things right. You know what I mean? And so sometimes when people come in with that, it's tough for me because then they're not so open, but you really were. And so that was so incredibly helpful. And you really stayed the course. A lot of people give up, right? We kind of hit a roadblock. Something feels tough. Something feels like, nah, no. And I think those moments are often an up-leveling energetically
100%.
And emotionally, right? I don't even think it's always about like, oh, it's tough for me to eat more animal protein. Like, yes, there's that kind of literal piece, but it's like, what else? What else is happening there? And so you really persevered. And that was beautiful because of your persevering, I've been able to witness you over the years just level up, level up, level up. And to be clear with people, like we've been working together, right? 5-ish years, but I haven't seen Blanche, every single month all the time. It's like we have periods of time where we're working on something specific. We see each other more. And then we have periods of time where I'm like, go live your life. You know what I mean? Like
you are
go
really
enjoy.
Good, I will say. So working with Marissa, and this is not a shameless plug in the sense, I really believe in this because I've seen the results. We had our call, and every time you have a call with her, she follows up with a very specific protocol and path forward for you to do on your own. So there would be months that I don't talk to Marissa. It would just be like a check-in. Okay, Blanche, let's do this. Unless we were working on something very specific, like when we did the parasite protocol, that was our first, foray into this. And that took some checking in a little bit more. And then after that, she was like, okay, what do you want to go to next? And I was like, let's look at hormones. And then she gave me a protocol for that. And then it was like, let's see how it goes. And everything was going like really well and this and that. And then we checked it again. And I was like, okay, like this is happening. And so we kind of like went off of that. So it's not like an incessant, it's not like an all the time. You're not doing like loads and loads of constant work, and it becomes second nature. Like the first couple of days you're reading everything and you're like, whoa, like this is what's going to happen. And then a couple weeks in, you're like, oh, okay, this is my norm.
And there's more intensive phases to that point, right? So usually the beginning when I start working with someone, we work together consecutively like 3 to 6 months. And then it spaces out depending on what we might be working on or what issue might still be coming up. But the beautiful thing about this whole process is the whole entire goal is that you get to go live life feeling good. So if we never gave you that time to like go live life, feel good, don't be on an intensive protocol. Let's just have a couple of supports, to round out what you might be missing in your diet or to support something that's the stressor for you. And let's have you keep living your life with these habits you've learned. But my entire goal is to empower other women to be their own guide, to understand their own body, to trust their own wisdom. And I think a lot of times, like kind of this intuitive eating movement, women aren't calibrated to it. You have to be calibrated to like, what does your body actually intuitively need? And a lot of us are misdirected. And so I think going through a process like this is really helpful to then ultimately get back to, what do I need? What are the things I've learned through this process? Is a sign my body needs this kind of food, or is a sign my body needs more time outside, or is a sign my body needs me to move more? Like, I think that's really the essence of what we do.
Yeah, and I would say to anybody listening that when I first started, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to shift a lot of the things I do and the supplements that I take? In the beginning, when you're working on the issue, meaning like what somebody comes to you for, when I came to you, I was like, I need to not feel bloated. I want to feel better in my skin. I want to sleep better. I want to feel energy. I don't want my hair falling out, all these things. Once we got out of code red and you were like, okay, let's get you to an even line, then it's like normal. Everything's normal. Things settle down. The supplements are just like here and there. Like I do take them every day, but I don't take as many of them. There are days, just so everybody knows, that I forget something. I do eat junk food sometimes. I do all the normal things. It's just that on the regular, I know that when I'm out of whack, and by the way, when I don't do my regular regime for like at least 24 to 48 hours, I feel it. I'm like, oh, okay, I got to get back on the wagon. These things aren't elective. They're just like my new norm at my age. So to anybody listening, what would be one small thing that you would say that they can implement in their everyday without like seeing you? What is one thing that you'd be like, this, if you did this, this would be very helpful?
Yes. Yeah, okay. Yeah, can I give two?
You're not
it's
being
so hard for me to
this.
choose.
Like, you can say whatever you want.
Right? Yes, thank you. Okay, so one is, and there's an asterisk here, one is truly get outside without sunglasses on. When I tell you, I had, at the point at which I really dialed in and discovered the benefits of light exposure through the eyes without sunglasses, I mean, I was years into doing this work, and it was in COVID, and I had slid back on so many of my symptoms and progress. I had regained 40 pounds I had lost. I was going through a breakup. I was having digestive issues again. Like, my body was out of whack. My cycle was getting weird. I was having more period pain. And I literally was like, hold up. Because I was doing all the like typical tools that I had learned up to that point. And I was like, no, hang on, there's something I'm missing here. And that's when I really went down the rabbit hole on cortisol, which is one of our stress hormones. And really associated with that is also leptin, which is a satiety hormone. So kind of telling us when to be hungry, when not to be hungry, along with other hormones involved in that. Famously, right? GLP is involved in that too. But what I found was the wisdom was actually simple. It was like, go simple. And so I went down the rabbit hole on light and actually walking. And I know this sounds like so too stinking simple. When I tell you that I got off any supplement that had vitamin D in it, I had chronically very low vitamin D, like under 20. We typically want to see vitamin D at least at 30, but ideally like 40 to 60 for the average woman tends to be a good zone. For an individual, it might be a little bit different, but in general, that tends to be a good zone to be for immune function, for gut function, for mood, for energy. Stopped wearing sunglasses, committed to getting outside in the natural light, whatever that might be. There's overcast outside. There's sun outside. There's rain. There's snow. I mean, I have videos on social media of me walking in the rain, just being like, look at me doing this. You can do it too, right? Like, I practice what I preach. So I have found for a lot of us women, daylight without sunglasses blocking that to signal the trigger of vitamin D synthesis, of what your cortisol should be up to, of what your leptin should be up to, of what your insulin should be up to, of what in general, all hormones are connected, right? So I can broadly say what all hormones should be up to, right? right? Signaling to your hormones. It's daylight. During daylight, we produce certain things. During nighttime, we produce
100%.
other things, right? And by helping your body understand what time it is, because your body doesn't have a clock it can look at and be like, oh, it's 10 a.m. Okay, so lunch is in a couple of hours, and here's when we're going to be productive at work. Your body doesn't have
Right.
that. Your body has light. So getting outside in the light without sunglasses, huge bonus points. Go for a walk outside. And when I tell you life-changing, my vitamin D levels are between 50 and 60 now. I take 0 vitamin D supplementation. And I truly credit it with this journey of natural light exposure, regulating cortisol, insulin, and leptin as being a big key there. So that's one thing I think all of us can do, and start with 2 minutes. Like, I'm dead serious. Start with 2 minutes. Just step outside within the first hour of being awake. If it's cold out, I don't care. Put a coat on, bring a cup of tea with you. Truly 2 minutes, get yourself out there. And then I would say the second thing is following that up with eat breakfast.
Oh, I mean,
just please
I
eat
remember
breakfast.
there are two things here. I remember when we started, I barely ate breakfast, like most people out there and women. I would have a coffee and then I was like, oh, I'm not really hungry. And then I'd have breakfast like maybe an hour or two later. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's cool. And I know they said to have breakfast, but I barely, got that going. And now I literally take protein in my coffee every morning, because you were like, if you can't have protein as soon as you wake up within the first half hour, put it in your coffee. And not only is it life-changing, by the way, it doesn't taste like protein, it's chocolate. So it tastes like chocolate. And now when I don't have it in my coffee, it tastes like crap. So there's that. And second of all, as from an interior design and holistic and energetic designer, light is everything. So I don't have blackout curtains in my room. I do that specifically because I like to wake up with the sunrise. And light for me in design, we are always implementing light, more windows, more light. And honestly, not all light is great, because depending on the function of the room, if you're working on the computer or sometimes glare control needs to be put into place. We are doing a wealth management office right now in New York City for clients of mine that I've had for a very long time. And they have been on the journey with me, meaning that they started out with, we want basic, we're like blah, 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 business oriented. And now we're on our, I think, 4th or 5th location, and they go, oh, we're going to implement a wellness room. And I was just like, what? I was like, you can do a wellness room? And they're like, yeah, but their like version of it is like, we want a massage chair in there. And I was like, okay, guys, I need you to leave the rest up to me. But it's this small room with no windows. So what I'm doing is putting faux skylights in that mimic the sun in the room. So when people are in there, yes, it's bringing sunlight, because if you're working crazy hours, which a lot of them do, they need sunlight, and it's not just from the windows on the outside. So there's a lot of things that we're implementing in this space, but one of them is this light fixture that mimics natural light in the sky. So that's like, so just to kind of speak to that. So what are some of the teachers or mentors that have had the biggest influence on you? Like, where do you go to kind of be like, ooh, that really influenced my life and where I'm going right now?
So I think I might have a disappointing answer, because my answer is I learn from everyone. Like, I really do. One of the things that I learned way back when, so part of my background actually is in yoga as well. And when I first started studying yoga, something I really loved, one of the teachers who I went to often, who was like a very well-known individual, he said, no one is an expert in yoga. We are all here to practice, right? Everybody comes to their mat and it is a practice. And I just really carried that with me. And I see that in my life across the board. This is a practice, right? Functional medicine, if you're going to be a good functional medicine practitioner, it is a practice. You should be constantly learning. You should be seeking out mentorship and guidance from all different kinds of people with all different kinds of orientation. I mean, there's very few people where I would say, I love absolutely everything they do and say, right? It's like, no, but does everybody have their own interesting pearl that you can take away? Does everybody have something maybe useful to like somebody you're working with, right? That's going to help you with that next step. So I read a lot. I really do. And I will say, in the field of nutrition, Weston A. Price is just his study of looking at like dental and oral health, and as that relates to nutrition, that was something early on that just changed my perspective. So I really think that his work is super interesting. Do I agree with all of it? No. But do I think there's a lot of interesting evidence and kernels there? Yes. I also do a lot of studying outside of the field of functional medicine, right? So I've done a lot of studying of hypnotherapy, yoga, meditation, mindfulness, energetics. I mean, I've taken trainings on like the subtle body, right? Like, I just think it's important for us not to look at people and be like, they're a guru, they know everything, right?
100%.
And instead, instead,
It's giving away
right?
your
And
power.
instead be
And
like,
people don't realize whenever you're just like this
yes.
one thing or this one mecca or this one, it's giving away your power.
Yes, exactly. So I think another person who like kind of evolved some of my understanding, Dr. Brian Walsh, he and his wife have an incredible functional medicine training. I've done some bits and pieces, and I think their perspective is really interesting. Do I agree with all of it? No. Is he probably smarter than me? Probably. But just instinctively, sometimes people in the field of medicine in general and holistic healing overcomplicate things. And for me, and just from a nervous system perspective, sometimes they take us down rabbit holes that I'm like, that's too, no, it can't be that complicated, right? Bodies are incredible. It can't be that complicated. Yeah, I tend to gravitate to how do we
also, you
simplify?
talk about the nervous system, and I really truly believe that nervous system regulation is the key to not only your health and wellness, but even your intuitive sense. So for me, because of the work that I do, and I do, you know, a lot of holistic mixed with interiors, but I also work with channeling and connection and to self. And I always say, like, not to give your power away and to kind of look inside yourself. And a lot of the answers, it's very like cliche, but it's really true. But nervous system, and it's something that we spend our whole lives working on, especially as a mother. I used to think my nervous system was pretty good. And then I had a kid in the pandemic. And then I realized that I was triggered 24/7 and that my nervous system, how I reacted to stress. So a lot of people, when you talk about stress, people are like, oh yeah, but I have a regular job, my regular life, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'm not super stressed. It's not that, it's our reaction to stress. So for me, I had to do a lot of work, and it is something I constantly work on. I don't think I ever master. I don't think I'll ever master it because I'm constantly in work of that. And I think having a child forces you to even work harder because you're meant to regulate their nervous system. They can't do that. And you can't do that, regulating their nervous system, if you can't do it for yourself. And so for me, I realized that I was raised in a household that my mother was very much like a do all of it. She was great at everything. She was perfect at everything. And to do all of that, she always had high anxiety, meaning that she was always like, we're going to be late, or we got to get this done, da, da, da. And I always thought that that was pretty normal. So whenever there was something like a deadline or something that I had to finish, I always was in that fight or flight on those last moments leading up to. And I realized that the way I handled that was how I was handling a lot of things, which put my body in fight or flight, and my nervous system was not regulated. So I spent like working with you, but also with my own self and my own inner work, and how I created Conscious Home is working on my nervous system, not only to be at optimal health, but also your nervous system barometer is the biggest indicator of how you carry and will hold wealth and how you will hold energy and abundance in your life. So if you don't feel, if you get money in, for instance, and you go, oh my God, like I have to hold on to it. When's it going to be gone? When am I getting the next influx? That's your nervous system in panic mode, right? And it's in lack mode. But when your nervous system is more regulated, you go, okay, great. I can ease into this. I'm so happy I got this. There's more of this to come. And you're opening and widening the container in order to hold that abundance, to hold that wealth. So nervous system regulation is like super huge. And so I just wanted to comment on that.
And so is the child observation you have, because something I talk with a lot of clients about is because as women, sometimes we struggle to prioritize ourselves. I say, take care of the child inside, right? The child inside needs to know, I'm going to be fed on a regular schedule. I'm going to be taken outside. I'm going to get time for movement. I'm going to get time for joy, and I'm going to get time for sleep, right? The child needs to know that. So if anybody struggles with prioritizing themselves, start thinking about the child version of you and what it would feel like to take care of that version of you. And that can sometimes be a ticket, right, to that regulated nervous system and also that kind of cared for piece of us that many of us need to 100%. Experience.
So one comment I wanted to say is that when we started working together, you were like a needle in the haystack to find you. Like there wasn't a lot out there. I was like, oh, okay. They were like, what? There are people that talk about this, just that. And hormone health, honestly, wasn't that big of a topic. And perimenopause and menopause and all those things. And obviously since then, we now know that we are in the eye of the storm of hormones and menopause. Like there is 8 billion menopause. And I'm so happy, honestly, that everybody's talking about it and that there is such a big conversation about it, because it wasn't like that a couple of years ago. But there is a lot of noise and there's a lot of saturation in the market. And so I wanted to know, what do you think has shifted? And also, what can women keep in mind when they're searching for the right practitioner?
Great question. So first of all, I think what shifted was COVID. I think COVID, finally, there were people who were giving all their power to doctors who saw, oh, my doctor doesn't have the answer. My doctor doesn't know. And also we had then the kind of upsurge of TikTok, of social media being our lifeline to connect with each other. And so we had that opportunity for more voices to be heard. And especially, right, like a voice like mine, where like, I'm an individual. It's just me, right? I'm here speaking passionately, but I'm trying to draw in people that are right to work with me, which is not everyone. And also I don't have a major platform, and I'm not going to make a deal to promote a product that doesn't feel in alignment with me, which comes up a lot. And I think part of why we're seeing more and more people is just that product companies have realized there's power in what seems to be like, oh, unique individual creator content. And so they're kind of hijacking this. And that is something I would just warn people, be really careful of. Anybody who you follow who's constantly pushing a product that's a promotional something, be leery. Not all those products can be fabulous and amazing. And it's really a better sign if they talk about turning down these products and working with these partnerships. But I think that's part of why we see so much of this coming to the forefront is social media and COVID, where we started questioning doctors more as a society, which I think is a really good thing. Like, doctors are amazing, right? To your point earlier, if I got in a car accident, take me to the hospital, right? Like, right. Absolutely. There are things that we need doctors for 100%. But what doctors aren't great at is true preventative health, because they've tried to apply an emergency care model to preventative health care, and it's entirely different. And that's really where someone like me comes in. And so if you're looking for a practitioner and you'd like to go on this journey through functional medicine, through holistic healing, I would really encourage you to not just look at what social media serves you, but go seek it out, right? And what you might want to look for is somebody who speaks about nothing being the be all end all, right? So you will never find me saying testing is absolutely the only way to do it. You will never find me saying it's only about your diet, right? You will never find me saying those things. You want to find somebody who has a balanced approach and who understands its nuance, and it's all intricately interlinked, right? So somebody who speaks about that, I think, is really important, because your issues, while you may be experiencing symptoms more recently within the last year, it actually took a lifetime to build to this. So it's really important that somebody have a vast toolkit to really address that. You also want to look out for anybody who has a cookie cutter approach. With absolutely everybody, I always run this thing. With absolutely everybody, I recommend this one thing. There's very little that's an everybody thing. And the things that are everybody things, I put in my course because they truly are, right? Like, everybody needs to eat enough protein. Everybody needs to eat, right?
Well, mostly.
Yes, everybody needs the sun. Everybody needs to move their body. Right, exactly. Everybody needs to work on their stress response. Do you know what I mean? Everybody needs clean water. But beyond that, it's really individual. And so you want somebody who understands that nuance. I would look for people and not just go entirely based on credentials, which may feel a little bit surprising to individuals. But for example, registered dietitians, some of them amazing, some of them not amazing. I'm not a registered dietitian on purpose, okay? Because their education and training, I think, is very one-sided. And so I actively decided not to go that route. So credentials mean next to nothing. You want to know how people are using those, right? Like, Blanche mentioned 3 of my credentials at the beginning. Y'all, I have 7 more. That's that constant learning, that constant growing and evolving as an individual so that it can serve others. I think looking for somebody with that ethos is really important. And also, I would ask yourself, am I ready to go on this journey? Because there's a time and a place, right? And like, sometimes if other things in your life are upheaval, it's not the time. Sometimes it is, because you're just like, rip the Band-Aid, let's do it all, right? So the only person who knows is you. And so you might feel, when you sit there and think about like, oh, okay, I'd love to do this kind of work that Blanche did with Marissa. Does it feel expansive, right? Even if it feels scary. If it does, then great. It's maybe time for you. If you're like, oh, no, then it's not the time, and that's okay, right? No judgment. So know yourself and know if it's right for you to take that next step as well.
I will say that for me, your credentials, actually, I didn't even look at. And I hate to say that with people, but I really do. I tune into a couple things. Well, one is that I've gone to plenty of doctors and I've met a lot of people with a lot of credentials that meant absolutely nothing to me because they couldn't help me and they weren't open enough and they didn't look at my symptoms or this and that. And the medical field, while it has some really amazing aspects, aspects, you are correct. It is put into place as a reaction to say, when something goes wrong, this is how we fix it. They're not really big into preventative. And they're the first ones to be like, yeah, the 100%. So I think being preventative and being kind of an advocate for yourself is your job. Nobody's going to do that for you. So if you think you're going to the doctor and they're going to give you how to prevent you being sick, that's not really going to happen. So you have to be your own advocate with that. When I came to you and found you, I follow my inner guidance and I go, okay, she's actually doing this because she needed this for herself. And she's making a lot of sense to me. And also it's like pinging in my head, like, yeah, like lights on. Yeah, this is right. So this felt good to me. And I was ready because I had really gone through all aspects and avenues and I couldn't find anything that would help. I couldn't even find anybody that wasn't either trying to sell me, like you said, because I'm also a big believer that there's not one fix for everything. So even for myself, when people will go, oh, Blanche, that session we had, like, you know so much. I go, first of all, I don't know anything. I'm like a conduit. So a lot of times when I'm in session with people, it's like information is coming through me, not from me, A. And B, no one is the Mecca. And if you think someone's the Mecca, you are giving your power away. So really do that inner like touch point with yourself. But I also could tell, I said this, I think the first time we got off a phone call, I said to my husband, I said, let me explain something to you. I've been doing what I do for over 30 years. I know my shit, okay? When one meets another who knows their shit, they know within seconds. It takes me seconds to know if someone's like talking out of their ass or they know their shit. So I was just like, Marissa knows her shit, and so I'm going to listen to her. Because just like people who come to me and they're like, oh my God, my art's hung the right height and this and that. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. Your room is giving off like lack energy, blah, 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 all this stuff. It's like, you just know. And speaking to that, so I told everybody that I would let them know kind of a little bit more about my journey with you. So I went through 2020. We did the parasite cleanse. Then we started focusing on my hormones and we started doing support for that. And there were some things that you recommended even at the time. You're like, Blanche, I really think you need to do some more strength training. I think you need to like do a little bit more walking. And here's these other things. And to be honest with you, I was really having a hard time with the strength training and even the exercise more because my daughter was young and I was still kind of in the gauntlet and not feeling great with myself. But I kind of powered through it and I would pepper it in here and there and whatnot. And then about maybe a year ago, I was like, something's feeling off again. Like I had been on the protocol. I felt okay, but the weight wasn't going. And in fact, like within probably I'd say about a 2-month time period, I had gained probably about 18 pounds within 2 months, doing the same things that I do, eating the same way, not changing really anything. And I was like, okay, I'm more bloated. I'm gaining weight now, like rapidly, and something's really crazy. So I remember checking in with you and I remember saying, listen, A, what can I do? And B, I'm thinking I've heard about microdosing. And I was just like, I am not a give my power away to everything, but I'm also very aware that there are new things that are coming up, new studies that are for women, and it's all about layering. So I remember when we had this conversation, you were like, okay, I think this is something you can try maybe to help you. And you gave me guidance and direction and whatnot. So not only do I do like a lot of the hormone support and the things like eat my protein first thing in the morning, but I also started microdosing GLP and very lightly. When I say microdosing, what that means is like a tiny, tiny amount. And what I like about it is that I'm still completely hungry. I'm still myself. I honestly feel like there are times that I can eat like a whole like 5 cheeseburgers and I don't. But what I did notice is that the inflammation it took down within probably 72 hours. Like you don't lose this much weight overnight, so it's water weight. I literally probably lost about 4 pounds in like 24 hours, which is not real. That means it's not weight. That's inflammation. So I remember the inflammation going down. I remember my energy coming back up. And not only that, my workouts and strength training, I started to notice that they were actually working. Whereas I had spent years and I would work out and not see any results. I was just like getting bulkier, but I wasn't getting like leaner. And I noticed that by dovetailing a lot of the microdosing mixed in with all the other things that I had done and changing a lot of my routine, the workouts that I was doing were actually being effective. I remember saying to myself, because you had connected me with MIDI at the time, and MIDI is more of an online for hormones that can prescribe GLP in a safe way. And that was just something that you had experience with, that you were like, I know them. Because there's a lot of places out there that that put GLPs and they're like $10. I personally would not do that and put those things in my body. I would rather pay a little bit more and make sure that it's coming from the right source. But I remember that they were like, do you want to go a higher dose? And I said, no, I want this to be natural in the sense of I want to be able to steadily have my body get comfortable and still have the hunger cues. And I still make pancakes in the morning and I still do all these things, but I am working in conjunction with my body. I'm choosing something that is a tool, not an answer. And so that for me was extremely helpful and that works for me. I will say that it's still one of those things that it's an ongoing process. I haven't hit my goal weight, but what I will say is that I feel honestly better than I did in my 20s. It's taken 5 years. I feel more me than I ever have. And that's honestly, it's like something that I'm so excited for because I run into women that are like, oh, I guess this is just our new norm. And I'm like, it isn't your new norm. And in fact, with GLPs, and you can speak to this more, there's so many studies out now that it's helping with osteoporosis and women's health and, heart health and all these things like that. There's so many studies that are coming out. So I don't say that it's the end all, and I wouldn't just run to it. I think a lot of women are like, oh, I just want to lose weight. Let me run to it. And they're not setting the foundation of their immune system, their nervous system, what their body needs. Like I've done the work, I've been persistent, consistent, and I've done the work. And that to me was just an extra add-on. And it's like night and day. Like I run into people all the time and they go, Blanche, like, oh, you look really great. Or like, you're like your energy and this and that. And I'm always like, okay, don't just go on this, and this. Just start with Marissa.
Yes. Yeah. So, and what I want people to hear from that is, first of all, Blanche has been getting older, even though she looks just as young as the moment I met her. But here's the deal. As we get older, our hormones change. And that's where the sudden kind of weight gain that you saw, and you were wise to reach out then, right? So I tell my clients, like, I'm in your pocket now
forever and ever,
like,
Marissa.
Once you work with me,
you're not going
forever and ever. Yes.
Forever and ever.
Right? So here's the deal. If we work together and a year later, you're like, this thing happened, help, I'm here for you, right? I really try to be that preventative support truly for clients. And so if something happens as somebody gets older, that can be part of aging, right? And so it's not necessarily abnormal, and it doesn't mean you were doing anything wrong, right? It means something needed to shift. It was time for a change, and that's okay. And so here's the deal though. A lot of women are jumping to GLPs and they're not preparing their body to respond to it well. You did the work, right? You did the work. We did the work. First, you always want to work on the gut, and more comprehensively than most people realize. We really want to look at your microbiome balance because there's a whole part of your microbiome that has to do with estrogen recycling and detoxification. So that's going to be really important, especially if we take something that has the potential to slow down the gut. We also want to look at your nutrient stores because as great as these GLPs are, they can create some deficiencies. So you want to work on all those things first, and also ideally cycling hormone balance as well before you potentially reach for those typically. And so you did that, right? You prepped your body, which meant that then you respond to the lowest dose possible. And my philosophy when it comes to these GLPs is just that. What's the lowest effective dose? Not the dose that suppresses your appetite so much to your point that you're not going to wake up and make pancakes with your daughter.
I want to eat normally.
No. Yes. We want you to eat normally actually, because then when you ultimately decide to come off of it, you're likely to have a much better result at that point. Yeah. And you're going to maintain muscle mass and all of that. And that's really, really important. So I think that's where the low dosing comes in. And just to be really clear with people, doing a low dose of a GLP, doing a microdose is doing less than any kind of typical prescribed amount. So if you go online and you look at, what's the typical starting prescription amount for Ozempic, for example, a microdose would be that you're taking significantly less than that. A low dose would be that you're probably taking less than that, and at the highest amount, you're taking that dose. So that's kind of some language clarification because I know these terms kind of get out there. That's what it means to me, at least. I have a number of clients like you, Blanche, where we kind of get to that point, or somebody comes back in and there's kind of a major weight gain happening that seems to be just the phase of life they're in, where I say, great, if you're open to it, this could be a good time to layer this on, right? And then I refer out, to your point, to somebody who can prescribe that. And really, it's important to me that everybody be super informed if they're going to go in asking for that prescription, because just like you experienced, Blanche, they will be like, okay, you want more, right?
They always ask me, they're like, do you want to
up your dose?
And I'm like, I'm fine. I'm good. Cool. I'm good.
Yeah. We want slow. We want you're still
Yeah.
living life. You're feeling good. You're working out. You're eating enough. You're sleeping, right? We want that because that is going to be ultimately for your longevity, likely the most positive
Yeah, no, and I
experience.
wanted to kind of put this in there. I didn't want to forget this because you mentioned it before about dental health, and I wanted to throw something in with that.
Yeah.
Obviously, we both believe in holistic health is all multi-layered. And for me, my dental health has been in alignment with that, with my gut health, by the way, and they dovetail. So my teeth had always been fine. I had braces when I was younger or whatnot, and I had my daughter, and then I go to the dentist. It was like, 2020, nobody was going in for like preventative stuff. And I go in like 2021, and they go, you have 6 cavities. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, this is kind of normal. So they do like, they fix like 4 of them. Then they're like watching another one, and I'm doing all the things. And I go back in a couple months later, and they go, yeah, you have 10. And I go, what? And they go, yeah, we really think that we should fill these and da-da-da. And that's when I put a stop. I said, hold on a second, something's going on here. And I remember saying, okay, Blanche, you have looked into holistic health for so many different things. Why don't we check about dentists? And I end up finding this holistic dental doctor, and I go to him, and it was like, oh my God, yes. Because he was like, we need to check your biome or your saliva to see what the overgrowth is. And we have to check it with your gut. And some of the things he was like, I want you to start this leading up to, and I want you to stop, what is it that like everybody takes in their teeth? I'm like losing it when they, fluoride. Yes.
Fluoride?
And I had already been low fluoride, but
Yes.
the problem is I had been reading so many things. And so I was taking out fluoride, but not replacing it with anything. So going to somebody who knew, he was like, these are what you have to replace it with. But because of that, a lot of the supplements that he was like, I want you to be on this protocol for a month were things you and I had already done. So by the time it dovetailed with that, now I've been working with this one holistic dentist. We don't use fluoride. I haven't had any cavities in over a year. We did this protocol, by the way, that was 6 months long. And now we're just on just regular checking in. And I am so happy, but it dovetails the health of all of your body. It goes together. It's like this dance. And people think like, oh, it's so hard to achieve. Yes, you do have to put in work. And to your point, you have to be ready to make a commitment. But we have one body. If you don't feel good, or if your body goes south, by the way, you can't do anything else in life. You could do nothing. Your career means nothing. Your family means nothing because you can't do anything. So like that's your number one priority: mental health, physical health, energetic health,
Yeah, absolutely. And oral health is huge to the point now where anytime I do a gut healing protocol, I always do some oral health work with that. And one of my top referrals is out to a holistic dentist, especially if somebody's getting cavities like that so often, but also if somebody has root canals. Root canals, ticking time bomb,
no,
everyone.
I know. And I had no idea until I literally started going to this one dentist, and I started doing research, and I'm like, oh my God, root canals. I was like, oh my God, so crazy. I feel like I can talk to you all day. I feel like we covered a lot. Thank you so much, Marissa. If there's one thing that you would like everybody to know just from yourself, what would you like to say?
Oh, I think I just go back to like, you are the captain of the ship. You are the one who is in the driver's seat when it comes to your health. And we've touched on this a few times about like, don't give your power away. And it really is true. No one else, if you are an adult woman listening to this podcast, no one else is responsible for your health. I don't care how shitty you feel. I don't care how much a doctor recommended something that you tried. Now is the moment where you become conscious, right? Now is the moment where you say, okay, pause. I am responsible. And that is a sacred responsibility you have to yourself to take care of yourself. There is almost no priority that supersedes that. And there is almost nothing in life that I think is as valuable to pursue because of all the things that you will learn about yourself and learn about the human experience, the way that you'll be able to connect deeper to yourself and others through that. So it is a worthy pursuit. It is beyond worth your time. And I just hope anybody listening to this will truly take a beat to take a breath and to ask, like, what do I need? What do I need? And to follow that
I want
instinct.
to build on that. So I always leave an episode with a takeaway and for my viewers to be able to do at home. And this is how I find my own guidance. So for instance, if you came across this podcast and this was something that was already floating in your arena, meaning that energetically you have felt off, or you have felt like something doesn't fit right, or my health is really like bothering me and I don't know where to go and I don't know the answers, and this popped up for you, by the way, this is a sign for you. I truly believe that. Now, does it mean that you have to run to Marissa? No, it could mean that you run to whoever you feel a connection with and however that looks like for you. But I will say, if you can take a moment, like Marissa said, but if you can either go into meditation or prayer, whatever you want to do, go outside and check in with yourself and feel into and ask your guides or ask God, whoever you ask, and check in and go, is this something that I need to start working on for myself? Not, is this someone I need to be working with? Just, is this something within myself? And the answer comes back yes. Then I would just invite you to start looking into what that means for you. So that's all I would put out there, because I do truly believe that these types of conversations or something that passes along, I could be walking outside and I'm looking for an answer, and that's why, a bus will drive by and there's a message on the bus and I'm like, oh my God, that's it. Or I pick up a book out of the library and there's one sentence. That's usually the universe and intuition and your guys trying to get your attention and saying, yeah, go follow this breadcrumb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank
I
you.
love that.
Thank you for joining us. And I hope everybody has a wonderful day.